Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of, oh, I don't know what show this is because this is something we were supposed to be covering in the daily briefs, but with me traveling in this travel schedule, it's been impossible to coordinate in order to do shows. Like I'm at conferences every day or workshops or, driving to rural India. So it's been a bit of a struggle. I'm still trying to keep up with at least the charting and the price of Bitcoin, but nothing exciting has happened in that space. So let's talk a little bit about, the whole Coinbase spying on you, which is something I've been saying since the first day I entered the space. And I want to highlight that a little bit. We will, of course, look at the charts. Let me just situate here a little bit. I have the live chat up. Please check out this video description. I posted a bunch of my very first articles, right? And they're also in the tweet, which I'm probably going to do screen share of. And let's take a very quick peek at the price of Bitcoin, and then we take it from there. Screen share, here we go. As always, please check out Understanding Bitcoin Conference. A few more people are signing up. It's going to be great. We have lots of core developers attending. We're going to update these pictures very soon. It's going to be really, really cool. And it's a really great event. Really looking forward to go to Malta for the first time as well. Check out the agenda and everything. For more on where I'm traveling to next, please check out the calendar. The calendar will show you. We still have room at the carnivory dinner tomorrow night. I still have some room. Please click on the link and go ahead and sign up. And then Tuesday morning, I am off to Hong Kong. I will be in Hong Kong until about the 15th. And I believe Saifedean is organizing a carnivory dinner on the 14th. It'll be my last night there, and I will be joining that dinner as well. So check out Saifedean's Twitter for that. Then I'll be in Switzerland, Malta, Egypt, and then finally headed to Malta for the Understanding Bitcoin Conference. And there'll be workshops all along the way here, by the way. Okay, let's just glance at the charts, see if anything interesting is happening. Here's my long-term view. Really nothing's changed. Please watch yesterday's video. Yesterday's video is about an hour long. The weekly chart has not changed. It is still bullish on the weekly scale. So nothing has really changed there. Bit of a bullish candle. I'm not as optimistic. We're stuck at 3,800. Now, right here, we have the daily chart. The daily chart hasn't moved. Yesterday, I believe I said, hey, we had a red 2 trading below the red 1, which activated a bearish trade. But look what happened the rest of the day. The rest of the day, the price pulled back to the upside, and therefore you have to probably exit this, with a bit of a loss, and you probably get out of this trade, or you're still in this trade, but you have to have a very tight stop loss, right? So where would my stop loss be? Probably be about this one candle, right? Because if we go higher than this candle, we now will have a green 2 above a green 1, and that activates the bullish trade. Or you know that Bitcoin is not doing anything. It hasn't had any reasonable volatility in what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a week, right? So just stay away from it. Go trade other markets. You know that there's more to the world than trading Bitcoin. You can trade other stuff. The 12-hour chart is flipping left and right. This is the 4th price flip in a row. So again, it's an asset you don't really want to be actively trading. Here's the red line I must have drawn, and I said, hey, below this line, probably activated your trade on a 4-hour chart. You had a red 2 going below a red 1. You're now on a green price flip. So again, the 4-hour chart, neutral. 12-hour chart, neutral. Daily chart, neutral. Until you get a green 2 above a green 1, and then it goes bullish. Yes, you get a lot of whipsaw when you trade a very specific mechanical strategy. The 1-hour chart, neutral. So Bitcoin is totally boring and totally kind of useless right now. Nothing is going on in the leverage space on Bitfinex, so we can let that go. I'm going to close that. This is GBTC. Again, the weekend, doesn't matter. Did you guys see Tyler's tweet? So Tyler is out of gold, which is, I told him to stay away from it. It's just gold's been crazy. And on our podcast, it's not even that I was right. I was just like, gold was weird to me. It was just weird. Like it shouldn't be this high. It's grossly overvalued at the moment. It hasn't bottomed out yet. The markets are doing great to the upside. Like this gold upswing that towards the end, like these last 4 or 5 candles just did not make sense to me. And when a market doesn't make sense to me, I don't like to trade it. I stay away from it. So Tyler is out of gold, which is great because I think gold should be, gold needs to bottom. Gold needs to bottom out, right? Like it missed the bottom. When your asset misses a bottoming process, which should have, okay, let's put it this way. In 2016, gold was supposed to go to $800. It would have then bottomed. Why did gold supposed to go to $800? Very, very simple. Not rocket science, very, very simple. Gold was supposed to go to $800 because $800 was the 1980 high. I am estimating, of course, 800. I believe the peak came around 875. The close of the weekly candle came around 715. So, your guess is as good as mine where the bottom should have been, either around 900 or around 700. It doesn't matter. Either way, by gold not breaking below 1,000, it created a very strange dynamic. It bounced strong, which caught me by surprise because I was trading gold back then. This is before I was really public. I was already in the Bitcoin space in 2015 and 2014, but I was still trading. I was still actively trading, and gold was one of the things I was trading. And this move caught me by surprise. And then gold has done nothing for the next 3 years. And I don't trust it. I just don't trust gold. And I still think that by not properly bottoming, by not hitting this trend line in the $800 vicinity, or phase 2 line on Tyler's hyperwave, or whatever we're gonna call it, right? For me, it was the prior all-time high. And Bitcoin maybe do the same thing, right? Like if Bitcoin bounces strong off of like 2,200, which is Murad's target, Bitcoin could be stuck in this weird environment just like gold, though maybe not for 3 to 4 years. Everything moves faster in Bitcoin, but it creates this weird environment. Had only gold bottomed at 800, I'd be bullish gold. But right now, I'm just staying away from gold because it's weird. And the sequential, I didn't even trust my own indicator. It's not my indicator, it's the TD indicator. But I didn't even trust trading the TD indicator. I said, well, technically, the green 2 is above a green 1. You go long, but then you get this reversal candle, and you got to get out of that trade. You can't lose money on a long here because it was a scary long. Gold needs to break out above 1,400. Until it does, it's a dead asset. It's a dead asset, right? You either got to short it or stay away from it. That's gold, okay? I mean, gold. Don't listen to the gold bugs. They're gonna lose you all of your money. Okay, look at the charts. Learn to trade. Use the technicals. Okay. Gold was a good buying opportunity right here off the crazy 9. I'm sure I pointed it out. If I did go back to my videos back in August of last year, I'm sure I pointed out the 9. And but right here, this 9 was a sell, but then we went higher, so your sell ended up at a loss. But then you go long, and your long ends up in a loss, right? That's why I hate trading gold right in this environment. It's really not good. That is a horrendous candle. And if Monday starts off bad and we go back under this trend line, I don't know what to do. Like I keep redrawing this downward trend. What happened? See, this is why I have to use my own damn internet. Am I back? What's going on? Am I back? I lost internet for a second. I think I'm back. Okay, good now. If it happens again, I'm going to switch to my own hotspot. All right, let's go back to screen share. I don't know where I left off, but I was going to my Twitter account, right? So I had no idea what delete Coinbase movement was all about. Like, I don't know, and I don't care, because I came into the space being critical of Coinbase. That's how I came into the space, being critical of Coinbase and being critical of the people that are promoting Coinbase and being critical of the people that are using Coinbase. I was always against Coinbase from, before I even had Twitter, before I even wrote my first article. I was always against Coinbase, and I was always against Bitcoin banks, okay? Everyone made fun of me then. They're making fun of me about it a little less now that it's been 5 years of people realizing that if you use Bitcoin even once, you're screwed, because they know exactly who you are. They know that you're a Bitcoiner, and it's no good. It's just no good, okay? So I never really liked it. I didn't want to be tracked like that as a person. And I made it very, very clear, okay? So apparently they bought some company called Neutrino that is basically a spy machine. I don't know why anyone is so surprised. I do want to point out to a couple of articles. So I've decommissioned Liberty Life Trail, but the website's still there. I actually still pay for it. I need to migrate the few articles that I've written, the few blog posts that I've written. This is the very first blog post I ever wrote in my life. I wrote it in March of 2014. Okay. Now, if you do end up on Liberty Life Trail, if you scroll all the way down, you see the very first month of entries, and it was March. I only wrote one article that month. It was on not the last day of March, but the 29th of March. And if you look through this article, it says it right here. My very first article, right? Here's a paragraph. What people might not realize, and I'm reading from the article for the audio podcast, but what people might not realize is that the only way it is possible for a person to keep track of these individual sandwich and coffee purchases while calculating capital gains losses is if someone is keeping track of your particular wallet. It will be very unfortunate if this is the first step to standardizing these digital wallets so that a company like Coinbase will be doing your accounting for free so that they know exactly when you spend and on what. And since the connection is not always clear, it's somewhat irrelevant if Coinbase knows how you spend your money. They are just a company. It's whether the government already has a backdoor to their data with or without their knowledge, okay? So this was me being critical of people using companies like Coinbase for the purposes of being tracked for their transactions, okay? This is, like I said, this is the very first blog post I ever wrote. It was in March 2014. As a reference, if you go to my Twitter, I created my Twitter in June 2014, right? So this is before I even had Twitter. This is before I ever attended my very first Bitcoin event, before I ever attended a Bitcoin meetup. Before I ever attended a Bitcoin conference, not spoken at, right? This is long before that, all right? So that's where I wrote. That's ironically, right? So and these articles are in the video description. So if I go to April and we take a look at what articles I wrote in April, because I was not intended on being a Bitcoiner, right? The second article I ever wrote was how to hike the Grand Canyon in one day. The third article I ever wrote was the Ukraine versus Russia, war situation back in 2014. So this blog was not going to be about Bitcoin. Like I wasn't intending on being Bitcoin. This was going to be about travel and diet and exercise and everything that I kind of wanted to do. That's why it's called Liberty Life Trail. And that didn't happen, and that's why I rebranded to Coinbase, and now I'm a Bitcoiner. Well, for now. So now we're going to go into May, right? So the articles in May. So here are the articles in May. So these articles written on 3rd, 4th, and 5th. 3rd and 4th. Oops, clicked on that. Didn't mean to. So these were actually articles about Bitcoin. These three were basically, so Ernest Hancock of Freedom's Phoenix, that's the the loud libertarian you all hate. So he was the first guy to ever interview me, basically because we met at a conference. So that's why I really like Ernie, because he kind of kicked off my career. And that's why I spend like every year, I spend like a week at his house trying to convince him that Bitcoin Cash is a scam. And before that, I was trying to convince him that Bitcoin Unlimited is a scam. And before that, it was Bitcoin XD is a scam. And before that, it was Bitcoin Classic is a scam. So it's like a revolving, like every year, it's like a new fork that I gotta convince him on. So let's go through these three articles, right? So these are my next three articles about Bitcoin that I've ever written. Again, before I even had Twitter. We're talking May 2014. My Twitter started in June 2014, before I even had Twitter. Here's an article titled, "You Can't Understand Bitcoin Unless You Use Bitcoins." Okay, again, I'm separating capital letter Bitcoin from lowercase Bitcoin, the distinction no one really cares about today. And I tried explaining that in this article. Hold on. And this had to do because of the regulators from November, trying to understand what Bitcoin is, and they never even used it. Not much here about Coinbase or tracking your life, so we'll skip that. Here's an article. This, again, May 3rd, 2014. What is the biggest threat to Bitcoin? I will just read the first article. This was the question posed to the audience on at least 2 occasions during the 2nd annual New York City Inside Bitcoin conference. This is the first Bitcoin conference I've ever attended in my life, okay? It was in New York. I was still had my job, still had my Wall Street job at the time. It was in May 2014 or end of April 2014, something like that. It came in the form of a multiple choice by a show of hands to gauge the crowd's opinion on the answer to the question on what is the biggest threat to Bitcoin. Some of the choices were things like security, ease of use, government scrutiny, and there was like another choice. But because the list was not shown in advance, my hand never went up because the word I was waiting to hear was misinformation. So back in May 2014, before I even had Twitter, again, I'm highlighting that part, I pointed out in a blog post that nobody read because nobody knew who I was. I pointed out that the biggest threat to Bitcoin is misinformation. And this is probably why we have so many shitcoins today, right? It's misinformation. It's misinformation that Bitcoin is slow, that Bitcoin is old, it's old technology, that like Bitcoin Cash is better, or all this other garbage and nonsense, okay? So misinformation was always the biggest threat to Bitcoin. I recognized it early. Most people still don't recognize it today, that that's the biggest threat to Bitcoin. Anyway, read the article, read the blog post. And my final blog post from that month is called, "Is a compromise on Bitcoin regulation possible?" And the answer is, of course, no. So I have to reread my own articles. My grammar and English are terrible. So this is why I stopped writing and started doing video. I'll just read the conclusion to remind myself. Oh, you know what it was? It was this. So here's why companies like Coinbase are terrible. And I don't, Coinbase isn't mentioned in this article, but Circle is. Back then, Circle was a big competitor of Coinbase. So I'll just read the very first paragraph in this blog post. Staying with the New York City Inside Bitcoin's conference theme one more time, it's time to discuss the hot topic of the week, regulation. As a Bitcoin enthusiast, it's really hard to watch as those with money and connections start new companies in the Bitcoin space, attempting to push regulation on everyone else. This was clear to everyone in the audience from the opening keynote address by Jeremy Allaire. Jeremy Allaire was and still is the CEO of Circle. I've heard of this company for over a year now, yet no matter whom I ask to look around the web, it's still completely unclear what this company will do. And that was a great observation back in 2014 because we still don't know what the hell Circle does. Circle has pivoted about 8 times. They've now bought Poloniex, and they have an OTC desk, and they continue to pivot. And I still don't know what the hell Circle actually does other than spy on you. The description says, the description says, make it easy to exchange, store, send, and receive Bitcoin. That was Circle. Please tell me that is still Circle's mission today, to make it easy to exchange, store, send, and receive Bitcoin, okay? But considering the fact that these things are pretty easy to do right now, this was back in 2014. You can exchange, store, send, and receive Bitcoin without Coinbase, without Circle, okay? And I point out that couldn't be any more vague. I guess I have to read the next paragraph. His speech did not go over well in the Bitcoin community, as can be seen here. I wonder what here takes me to. Most people believe it's probably going to be a 401. Oh, okay, it's a Wall Street Journal article. Oh, that's good. Probably Paul Vinia. Yep, Paul Vinia. He was a big Bitcoiner back then. Keynote address by LAR. Let me see where this takes me to. Is there a video of this? This is back again, early 2014, guys. No video, but CoinDesk article. Anyway, let's move on. His speech did not go over well with the Bitcoin community, as can be seen here, and even clearer in comments to the keynote link above. That was okay. Mostly due to statements like this. This is what I personally heard Jeremy Allaire say in 2014. Critical component to ultimate mainstream acceptance is the ability to assign identities to transactions. This was followed by a contradiction where he says, while still maintaining financial privacy and even anonymity. Okay, this is what he said. I'll repeat. Critical component to ultimate mainstream acceptance is the ability to assign identities to transactions while still maintaining financial privacy and even anonymity. You can't have that. You can't have both, right? And there was another crazy statement that he said. I must have quoted it somewhere. All right, let me just finish reading the paragraph. It would seem that Mr. Allaire would like nothing better than the combination of governmental and financial institutions to oversee the usage of Bitcoin because they would know best. The rest of the speech was spent on praising Wall Street and how they would take Bitcoin to the next level for us, since they've done such a great job for our benefit the last 10 years. And remember, I was on Wall Street. The prior 10 years included the financial crisis. Of course, before this technology should be taken over by Wall Street, clear-cut regulation would need to be established. Because as we all know, Wall Street can't go around speed bumps unless they know where they are. At one point, I clearly heard him say that we also need central banking direction as to where Bitcoin future is. So this is what I wrote in May of 2014 about Jeremy Allaire. I really liked Nick Carey's presentation about blockchain.info, but blockchain.info is another one of these spy companies, I believe, and they're terrible, and don't ever use blockchain.info. It is the shittiest wallet. They refuse to adopt SegWit, and they're not a friend of Bitcoin at all. So please stop using blockchain.info for your wallet. And they still, unfortunately, they have unlimited resources, and they do have one of the best block explorers because, again, they have I believe they're going to be a spy machine. And so for now, I really hope my database isn't using their block explorer, but we also need usability. And I believe we've already switched to the Blockstream's block explorer, but before that, we were using blockchain.info. It's blockchain.com now. Back then, it was blockchain.info. We were using their block explorer, but I would never, ever use their wallet. Unfortunately, it was, let me not say anything else. Don't use their wallet. Don't use that company. All right, so that was it. Those were my very first articles before I had Twitter. In June, I finally got Twitter. Man, I remember when I got my first 1,000 followers. Oh, this is another great article. I should have added a link to this. Rich versus famous in the world of Bitcoin, right? So this is basically announcing yourself as a Bitcoiner and that you're rich versus being under the radar and not flagging yourself to the government. So another great article. I wrote that back in June. And in July, what did I write? Oh, I wrote a bunch of stuff in July. I was on Freedom Phoenix again. Trading Bitcoin. Oh, that was a good one. Top 5 issues. Yeah. Bitcoin, the Stripe perspective. Another one of my articles. Anyway, check that out. I'm gonna decommission this site. I do need to get these old blog posts for historical perspective. And also check out this one. So I wrote, and this is back when I was writing a Cointelegraph. This is almost a year later. This is January of 2015, where I wrote an article called "When Banks Become Law Enforcers." Probably one of the best articles I've ever written. And it's funny, I talk about FBAR and FATCA here, and I didn't remember that I did that. I actually sent the article to Sasha, and because she's recently been writing about FBAR. And I'm like, oh shit, I wrote about FBAR back in 2011, sorry, back in 2015, on January 11, 2015, in relation to Bitcoin and how FBAR could play a role. So go ahead and check out another one of my old articles. All right, let me look at your questions. I have to go teach a workshop. Oh shit, I'm past my time. I'm supposed to go teach my workshop here in Austria. Let me glance at your questions. I see a couple of tips. I'm going to stop screen share. Please check out these articles. And of course, please come out and support Understanding Bitcoin Conference in Malta. All right, stopping screen share. Let me glance at some of your comments here. I think the delete Coinbase. I mean, XRP doesn't help. I mean, XRP is an outright security scam, and you know, I don't know if the regulators are going to agree or not. Again, Ripple has unlimited resources, right? They have unlimited resources because they printed what, $20 billion. So when you print 20 billion, well, I don't know how much they. I don't want to use man. So what's the coin market book? Let me do that. I'm trying to stay away from coin market cap. Because a lot of people are critical of them. I want to be neutral. So XRP printed $13 billion out of thin air. It was a lot more than that at one point. So they have unlimited resources by printing $13 billion. And oh, I'm not even screen sharing. Doesn't matter. So by printing, oh no, whoa, that's not right. They not 13 billion. I'm going to coin market cap. No, because I'm not. I have to back to screen share. Printed way more than $13 billion. This is why I'm going to screen share. My mistake, guys. So what you need to do is when you go to coin market cap, what you need to do is you need to go to where is it here? Tools. I think it's in tools. What's going on? Come on, load. You ever gonna load? It's too many shit coins. It takes like 10 minutes for this website to load. Anyway, it'll load eventually. So Ripple printed about at current market rate, right? So Ripple printed like $50 billion, right? So, oh, great. Ripple printed like $50 billion. So they have unlimited resources. And because they have unlimited resources, okay, here we go. It's in here. So what you need to do is, come on. Nope, not there. Price, volume. No, I can never find it. I want to see total supply. Market cap, tokens, cryptocurrencies, exchange. Here, I think it's here. Yeah. Total supply. That's what you want to do. You want to use total supply. You don't want to use circulating supply, right? So, market cap. Jesus Christ, what the? See, this is why I hate. I don't know what this is. No, I'm gonna use my ad blocker. Anyway, I saw the number. It was like $32 billion, right? So we can close that. So Ripple printed $30 billion, right? So they have unlimited resources. So this is how they can hire the former head of the SEC to argue that they're not an illegal security, which they are. And this is how they can hire Bill Clinton to speak at their conferences, again, because they're printing their own money and they have unlimited resources due to their security scam. And it's a totally useless token, it has no reason to exist. And I didn't know where I was going with this. Oh, right. So a lot of people in the crypto community understand this and they recognize this. I tried pointing this out, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, just go back to my early work. And that doesn't help. Coinbase and but it's mostly the Neutrino thing, just the spy machine. It's not about XRP, but it doesn't help. And I heard they're not even letting you delete accounts, which again, I'm not surprised. The goal was to never open a Coinbase account. I mean, I tried warning people. Nobody knew who I was then, but I tried, did my best. Let me see here. I'm looking at your comments. I do have to go in a minute. How could people buy Bitcoin without exchanges? I didn't have a problem. I bought Bitcoin. I didn't have a problem. I've never used exchanges. How many coins do I think will survive? Just Bitcoin. Everything else is centralized. Everything else is a guy printing his own money or creating a security. Let me see here. What's the purpose of Bitcoin? Well, if you don't know, I don't know if I can help you there. Watch my presentation. What's the purpose of Bitcoin? Go to Unconfiscatable conference YouTube. If you don't know, if you don't understand what the purpose of Bitcoin is, go to the Unconfiscatable YouTube channel. Click on Tone Vase's presentation from the Unconfiscatable conference and watch it. I don't have time. I don't have time to do research to do more crypto scams. I think that until I stop traveling, they're not going to happen. Feds set up stings on local Bitcoin exchanges. I know, but like it's not illegal for you to buy Bitcoin, right? It's just not, right? So a Fed can set up you can buy Bitcoin from a Fed as long as when the guy says, I'm selling you this Bitcoin that I earned by selling drugs, or I'm selling you this Bitcoin that I earned by doing so. If someone is that blatant and tells you that you're doing something that came from illegal activity, you may want to walk away from that transaction. You may not want to show up with like $10,000 in your hand. Like there's ways you can do. Like there's nothing illegal about buying Bitcoin unless you're like in India, but there's nothing illegal in most of the world about buying Bitcoin. Just don't enter giant transactions, right? But it's only like the people that get busted are either get busted because they're not thinking, or because it's their job to buy and sell Bitcoin. Now, if it's your job to buy and sell Bitcoin, yeah, you could be in a little bit of trouble. You could be breaking some FinCEN laws on money transmission, but there's nothing illegal about buying Bitcoin through local Bitcoin. As far as I know, I mean, you can ask a lawyer, but I mean, we haven't had a law show in a while. All right, guys, I need to get to my workshop. I got to teach people how to trade properly and safely. So thank you so much for watching. And let me stop screen share. I'm still in Austria. We got the carnivory dinner coming up tomorrow night. So feel free to join. It's only like maybe €50 or $50 above the base price of the nice restaurant. So check that out. It'll be good if you want to hang out with me. Unfortunately, there's no other Bitcoin maximalist at that dinner, but Saifedean and I will do one in Hong Kong. All right, guys, I will talk to you all on the next one.